Hey YouTube, it's Chuck, good morning. Well, we are in the peak of swarm season here in Zone 9B in Jacksonville. I've already caught 2 swarms, one in a trap and one here in just a viburnum. The viburnum had a virgin in it, it's not mated yet. The other one was in a swarm trap a few miles away, and I've already hived it and letting them build back up. But when you go through your hives this time of year, you really just have to look for swarm cells. If you look at my graph of my swarms here in Jacksonville, and maybe I'll put it right here while I'm talking about it, week 10 of the year, which is where we are, is the top of the bell curve of the most swarms I have ever caught. So going through my long Langstroth hive just a few minutes ago, I was using it to finish off some cells, but I wanted to show you what I found and then how to handle it. What do you do when you find swarm cells in a hive? The best thing to do isn't always to cut them down, because if they've made the decision to swarm, there's a little bit of timing on the best option to do in order to preserve the resources and perhaps even keep the queen you have that might be marked or might be genetics you want to keep. All right, so stick with me. Let's go into the long Langstroth hive and let me show you what I found. Okay, YouTube. I'm back with you here. I found, in opening this hive, first clue is look at the number of bees. They're coming from frame to frame. I pulled some capped queen cells out of here that I was using as a finisher. But then, so I've captured the queen. She's a red dot queen. I'm just double checking. Yep, she's still in there. And I set her aside so I don't accidentally bump her. And then when I'm going through this hive, I'm noticing some things. And let me show you what I'm noticing. When you find frames like this that are just popped full of drone brood. There's one. 2, and I don't know if you can see the number of drones on there, but they have drawn this out. It was naturally drawn, not foundation. It's just booming with drones. This hive has made so many drones, it's almost a burden to the hive how many drones there are. Now that's regular cap brood, but if you see the number of drones in this hive, a lot of them. So the queen and the hive started making drones, which is a huge clue on swarm season. That they're, you know, creating their progeny. There's a lot of eggs, a lot of larvae, a lot of capped brood, and just tons of drones in here. And when I got all the way to this end frame, I wanted to show you. You know, sometimes you find queen cups and queen started cells, but then this is what I found. These, see if I can get it for you here, are not quite capped yet. They are right there at being capped probably today or tomorrow. The entrance on the bottom of that cell is just the width of a bee and ready to be capped any day. And there's 3 large swarm cells on this frame that is basically ready to be capped. I know sometimes folks have said, if you find swarm cells that are not capped, you can cut them out. When you find swarm cells that are that mature, in addition to the number of bees in this hive and the number of drones they have created, this hive is going to swarm. It's also a long Langstroth, so it's not about adding space. So I have to maintain the space in this hive. So there are 2 choices. And the beginning beekeeper might think, hey, I'm going to take that frame out and I'm going to go use it for a split. That will work, and this frame will create you some great queens because it's nice, good swarm cell queens. But this hive has already made the decision. They're going to make more swarm cells. So the better decision, in a resource hive especially, not a hive, is to take this queen and a colony and a set of bees with her and take a split and let her keep growing in that split, and go ahead and let this hive sense the queen being gone and take those swarm cells to maturation as the new queen here in a few days. You could also introduce a queen cell that you've mated. I have some of those, but this is just the scenario I wanted to show you of what you do when you find a lot of bees and mature queen cells where you don't have an opportunity of essentially continuing to split. I will lose these bees. Could be today, could be tomorrow. As soon as those are capped, they're probably gone. So I'm gonna go ahead and mitigate that, take that queen and do a small split here and finish it up. So I'll show you which frames I pull here in a few minutes and how I put them in the box. Okay, the most important thing about putting a nuke together is you need basically resources to continue and grow. With the queen, they're gonna grow very, very quickly, but she does need some drawn comb to continue to lay. Food, resources, and room to lay when you're adding a queen. So I'm going to go ahead and take my resources for this to go ahead and be the feeder. And oh, by the way, having nuke boxes ready to go is another important piece of these. These are the Anel brand feeders, A-N-E-L. I found them on a few websites. If you just Google Anel division board feeder, they sell these 1 gallon feeders that are the exact width of a frame. And I really like them for nucleus colonies and things like that because it doesn't take up the additional width. All right, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up here and show you just the frames I'm pulling. All right, there's another queen cell I found. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that in the hive. That's going to go ahead and remain without the queen. You can see it right here. This one is fully capped. So I perhaps got lucky on catching this hive before it swarmed. Okay, this is a open or capped brood frame with a lot of bees and resources. So this is going in the hive, but I'm going to go ahead and shake those bees off so you can see lots of room for her to lay in this hive once they those bees hatch out. If you see, these are very, very dark. These are going to hatch out today. Okay, another good frame with a good drawn out comb with plenty of room for her to lay. That's probably going to be the end of the comb. Another queen cell, swarm cell that's already capped. So that's 2 capped cells already. All right, and this is going to be the 3rd frame. This is one of those drone comb frames that they've laid up. I just need to get some of these drones out of this hive. So while this nucleus doesn't need that, they will probably put resources in that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 layer of foundation to this nuke. And this is done. So food, 2 frames for laying, 1 frame of drone that will hatch out. They'll probably go ahead and start putting resources in that, and a frame for them to start drawing out. I'm probably going to go ahead and put this foundation frame closest to the sugar water that I'll be adding, so they go ahead and draw that out for her to lay in closest. And this nucleus is ready to go. All it needs is the queen. And here she is going in the nuke. All right, she's going down, and that will get a lid. And this nuke box needs some food, but I'm going to go ahead and set it aside for them to go ahead and split out. So now that we've pulled the queens out with some resources, this has got an expanded hive here. Lots of bees, but they also have a lot of space now. So now the question is, how many queen cells do you leave? The answer is 2 to 3. So now that I have 2 capped cells that I'm leaving in this hive, I'm going to go ahead and take away these other ones because I don't want more swarms to come out of this hive than we already have. So these queen cells, I'm going to go ahead and carve out and save for royal jelly. I'll go ahead and save my royal jelly in my little jar. So those queen cells are gone. This is a food frame next to the feeder, which is great. Now it has no cells on it. I'm going to go ahead and put this drone frame, and these are the other cells I found. Lots of room, lots of open brood there. This is that drone frame that needs to hatch out. They'll use that for resources. Capped brood, they need to finish drawing this out, so this is going to keep the population healthy with workers. This is one of the cap cells. And this is the other one with the cap cells. I'm not going to shake this one with that queen on there. So 2 cells in here. And lots of bees. I'm going to go ahead and shake this into the nuke just for resources. And this is those are just queen cups here. I'm going to go ahead and knock those down so I can keep track of the types of cells they're building. You know, if I knock these down, the next time I come back I find more cups, I'll know they just made them. And this has got resources. And now foundation to continue to expand this out. All right, so that's it. We took the queen out. We have 2 capped queen cells in here. You could also cut those out and put cells of your own genetics if you want. I'm going to let this keep going and I'll keep an eye on it. Reduce the load, took out the mature queen. This is going to go ahead and make a queen, so I need to keep the date on here, and I'll write that on the top, the date that it was capped, so I'll know when she's laying. And now I've got a split with a mature queen that will continue to grow and build resources, but at least it's out of this hive and will not swarm. Hopefully you enjoyed that and it makes some sense. If you got any thoughts or comments below, love to hear them. I don't do everything perfectly, but I always love to hear how other people do this. Thanks for watching.